In what might be the craziest story I've ever covered, we reached not a conclusion, but a next step in the search for Vance Boelter, who was found yesterday in the woods by a SWAT team using an overhead drone, I imagine with heat vision or FLIR or whatever, and was taken in alive. Extremely, color me surprised. After wearing a rubber mask and taking out two Democrat lawmakers and nearly taking out another two before then exchanging in a volley with local police, then escaping on foot, somehow getting to another one of his vehicles, having his wife pulled over with somewhere around $50,000 in cash, passports, and weapons. We're told that this man acted alone. We're told that his friend, that a man who had a sprawling mansion also chose to live in a halfway house with his best friend. Nothing about this case makes sense. The police are refusing to release the manifesto. I'm going to go through a lot of the questions that I have right now because this is perhaps the most compelling op I've ever seen. I want to start with, we have the situation here where it just does not appear to be the same guy. This is one of the many theories floating around that he did not act alone. I happen to believe that he also did not act alone. Why was his wife carrying, in a car? Here you said Minnesota's loser Vance Boelter's wife, Jenny, had been detained after a traffic stop where authorities found a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports. Jenny also previously worked for Tim Walz. The story is getting weirder and weirder. Probably should have let her go just so they could track her. I'd agree with that. Here you have what appears to be his roommate. I think there's some confusion. People are saying that this is Vance. This looks like his roommate, but they're both wearing the same hat. I don't know if this is him or not. If this is Vance, he's wearing the same jacket that he was arrested in and the same hat. It could be because it's a wide-angle lens. But he gets a hammer. I don't know where, from the garage, perhaps? This is at 6 in the morning. Had to get in the car. Didn't have the keys. Hold on, it's coming back. Whoever this neighbor is obviously feeds the birds. There you go. Smashes out his own window. Reaches in. Unlocks the door. Didn't call police to get a didn't call a locksmith. He needed to get into that car and get whatever was in there. I don't know what it was. We'll never know. It's also interesting that he turns and looks directly at the camera. It's like he wanted to get seen when he walks away here. Here he is when he walks, he walks back around, looks at the camera several times. They could have just been looking at the birds. It's possible. Maybe he was doing this so that he could say the vehicle was stolen. That's one theory I had. So he could say, oh, if they found the vehicle, it wasn't me. Someone had stolen it. It's possible. It's possible. I don't know. You see a lot of other stuff here where this guy loves the camera, can't get enough of it. Day 4, no bath. His roommate, who's always wearing this Papa John's shirt, is doing every interview imaginable. I just, you see this. What would be so important? You need to get a hammer and smash out the window of your roommate's vehicle. So this is his roommate that went and took this. This one thing does not add up. Someone was not at the residence to provide him access. Remember, he lived in the home part-time. Something of great value was in there. So that was the roommate that broke into his car. Why? Was he trying to make sure? He says, you're right, it's not. Here's a report from his roommate, Matt, saying he went to his car at 6 a.m., It was a vehicle Vance broke the window out of. Camera was on the White House and noticed the two buildings behind the vehicle. So I don't know if he's trying to look like him. You know, what do three school buddies sit around and do? Watch movies and complain about stuff. This fat guy is not telling one bit of truth. Fake tears and all. I think he's just I think he's involved. I think a lot more people are involved. There are pictures, by the way. There are pictures, by the way, that it looks like there's more than one vehicle at the sites. Here's vehicle A. There's vehicle B that he had. So he had two vehicles. And then this might be vehicle C here. What did he take from there? What evidence did he retrieve? He obviously was told to do something like that. You know, only one problem. The SUV has never done any security work, no clients. Maybe it's feasible. You know, SUV stays at the roommate house. Buick travels back and forth from the house. You can't drive two cars at once. Both of those vehicles did not magically appear on site. Someone else had to be involved. You know, who brought Boelter his Buick? That's the thing. Remember, this is the vehicle they picked up yesterday. Unless the Buick was the second car when he fled the scene. He had multiple vehicles. Somebody brought him that vehicle. When he exchanged shots with local police at the second house, he escaped on foot. Somehow, he got to this other car. Somebody brought it to him. I am certain of it. 50 miles to drive to work is nothing. Roommates, more like a terror cell doing work in that house. Something. I mean, there is something very, very weird about the roommate and the wife. Also, obviously, Vance was trying to ditch the weapons and effed up. Dropped his hat in a panic. His downfall is a hat. They ended up finding the hat. Here he is, wearing that hat and jacket. And then in the video, you could see the very same hat and the very same jacket walk up to the vehicle. So something is very weird. Evidence including a mask, a disassembled 9mm, along with a vest and gold style police badge, were found near the scene where Vance Boelter exchanged fire with authorities. Just got the tip he is cooked. Here's his mugshot. I mean, does this guy here, okay, in the mask, this is another big question. The way the shoulders and all this stuff, does it look like him? I don't know. I mean, Ring doorbells aren't the best. But, I mean, it's definitely not this guy. You know, there's a lot. By the way, this guy also took out the family dog. Vance Boelter ran bogus security company and struggled after prolonged stint in Africa. Well, because he got cut off of USAID money, is what people are saying. Now, behind the assuming facade looks growing trouble within. I thought his demeanor changed. He wasn't as cheerful as he used to be since he got back from Africa. I guess Boelter's roommate, self-described best friend, David Carlson, told the Post, adding he got back 4 months ago and quit his job to go there. He came back and he was struggling a little bit. I thought it was normal struggles, he said. They said, oh, well, the guy listens to InfoWars and he's a far-right winger. I don't know a lot of far-right wingers that would want to work for Tim Walz, and his wife also did, by the way, who I believe was also involved. And what vehicle was she in? There is something, you know, Brian Leibhard, a 65-year-old retired plastics industry worker, told the Post that he heard 2 shots around 2:30 a.m., compounding suspicion that Boelter might have taken his own life. That's not something that normally happens, he told law enforcement, searched his farm. I would have think they would have apprehended him by now, he said, noting that the road had been blocked off from church. Also, asked if he's concerned for his safety, Leibhard said, F no, I would kneecap that son of a bee. I love that guy. There's also weird stuff. Vance Boelter was, it looked like he may have been trying to build some sort of church or cult or something like that. He may be, because in this sprawling home that he had, there's pictures from inside and it looked like he was building a church or some place of worship in his big house. I saw a picture of it yesterday. Boelter's confirmed conservative Trump support and a right-wing Christian nutcase. Why?
We even
According to his quote-unquote best friend who appears to be involved in the crime, why was he breaking into his car? What did he take out? Now, it looks like the same hat and the same jacket, but I just don't know that guy. I don't know. It doesn't look right. I mean, here it looks a little more like the jacket's kind of big. I don't know. And like, I think he was building a church in his home. Here, one of the addresses on file for Boelter is a place located in Pearson, Iowa, and appears to be an old church. It was sold for $60,000 back in August 2024. So he bought a church. There is something, looks like it's in pretty rough shape, but like there is something going on. Bought a church, was involved going to Africa. He didn't really know how to do a sermon. He was very, very, like, I've seen it. There's just something wrong. Why was he living in a halfway house with this guy? Okay. Why was he living in a halfway house with this guy when he had, 5 kids, and he had this beautiful home out here?
Taking a look at the home.
And a sprawling piece of property. Why was he living in a halfway house with 2 roommates when he had this house?
Of what is believed to be the suspect in now the shooting deaths.
I just, nothing adds up. Nothing adds up. I think everybody in that house was involved. I think this guy was involved too. Just my thought. I can't prove that. He also refused to show his phone to the reporters, but he instead would read the text messages. What else is on that guy's phone? Why did the FBI not take that guy's phone? Something is very, very off. They have not released the manifesto. They have not, shared anything. Again, these people are generally crazy, and everyone races to say, oh, they're a Democrat, they're a Republican. I don't generally think that matters as much. This appears to be, I don't know. Why go after Democrats? Is that just because that's who he had on the list? They haven't released the full list. They've only released, Democrat names. Were there Republicans on the name or on the list? We don't know. It's very, very odd. He also had another hit list located at his house, apparently. It's all very suspicious. I will continue to cover this as more information comes out. They're refusing to release the manifesto. I mean, look, I understand why in the moment they didn't release it, but now that he's been arrested, I think they should release it. They're claiming his manifesto has nothing to do with the motive, but then why call it a manifesto? That's literally what a manifesto is. They're being very cagey about the manifesto, just like they did in Nashville. And we remember why that was. The wife has to have been involved too. This whole thing is weird. He was a 7-Eleven manager, but consistently promoted himself as a corporate executive. He claimed the title doctor based on Ed and D in leadership. Oh, he must have had like a fake PhD or whatever. He chased every opportunity to get in front of an audience, volunteering for Governor Walz's workforce development initiative, speaking at conferences, anything to be seen as a leader. Videos of him in African churches, you'd see him light up. He's performing. He's preaching vague, positive platitudes to foreign audiences. He wanted to be somebody. He wanted to be followed. There's good reason to believe that he was remodeling the building below into a church, not to serve Jesus, but as a stage for an audience that would never come. I think this is a man addicted to attention and status who tried to get it through a lot of means. And when that attention dried up, possibly whoever cut off the funding in the Congo, he snapped. I believe Vince Boelter committed this attack as a last desperate attempt to be glorified under the delusion of taking out abortion rights activists. Here's he had satellite internet or satellite TV set up there. but looked like they were trying to build a church or remodel the church. All very suspicious. Make sure to leave a like on this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.